I'm going to look at something that comes up a whole lot in all sorts of different situations where you have to know about how to increase and decrease by a percentage. Now, when you multiply by 1, there's a property of multiplying by 1. The quantity doesn't change. If you multiply something by 1, it just stays the same. It's just itself. What if we added 10% to 1? Well, 10% means 10 divided by 100, which is 1/10. And if we write it as a decimal, it'd be 0.1 plus 1. Well, there's 1 increased by 10%. It's 1, 1. Now, the nice thing about this 1.1 is we can increase anything by 10%. All we have to do is multiply it by 1.1. Here's an example. Say you have 1,700 Rand. You want to increase it by 10%. You just go 1,700 times 1.1. And your calculator says 1,870. But it should make sense to you. If we multiply it by 1, we get the 1,700. But 10% of this is 170. 10% of 1,700, if you go 10 over 100, or 10% times 7, you get 170. If you add them together, that gives you the 1870. Now, you can do the problem separate like that, but you just multiply by 1.1. You get the answer straight away. What if we wanted to decrease something by 10%? Well, you'd take 1 and subtract 0.1. You'd get 0.9. If you want to decrease something by 10%, multiply it by 0.9, which is 90%. Well, let's try that. Say we wanted to decrease 1,700 by 10%. Well, we go 1,700 times 0.9 is 1,530. This should make sense, though. It's as if you multiplied it by 1. You got 1,700, but then you subtracted 170. And that's how you get to 1,530. But just remember, subtract the percentage from 1 and multiply, or add the percentage of 1 and multiply. Let's do a couple of questions that are a little bit harder. So first thing we do, if you want to increase or decrease by a percentage, first step, percent to a decimal. And then add 1 if you want to increase, subtract 1 from 1 if you want to decrease. Say you had a locker rental with 65 Rand, and there's going to be a 12% increase. What's the new charge? You go 12%, 0.12, add it to 1, multiply it by 65. The new charge is 72.80. That's all there is to it. Just follow these steps here. But if we had a decrease, we got a cell phone on sale for 3,500. It's reduced by 22%. What's the new price? Well, just go 1 minus 0.22, you get 0.78, multiply it by the 3,500. There's the new price of the cell phone. You can see I used a calculator just to do that quickly. And that's it. That's the new price of the cell phone reduced. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of questions to practice, and then some ones that take it a little bit further, where you do it once, you increase it, and then you increase it again. And there's all sorts of situations where it kind of gets compounded, and we use it later on in mathematics, and we're going to try it in some of the questions that are a little bit more challenging.